All right. Hey, everyone. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. And I also want to welcome anyone who might be watching uh, the replay, which will be saved on our YouTube channel. And you can go to our Freedom Boat Club of Tennessee YouTube and also view any of the past location highlight videos that we've done. But tonight we are featuring Center Hill Lake. So we have a couple things to go through before we get into that, which I think is what everyone's here for. But it's 2026 and we're getting ramped up for another exciting season of boating in Tennessee. So we're going to go through just some updates and things coming up, and we'll go ahead and get started. So here's our agenda this evening. I'm going to introduce you to our hosts, which I'll do now. So myself, Angie Scott, I'm the membership executive for the Middle Tennessee locations. Jason Evans handles our East Tennessee locations. He's not joining us tonight, but we do have our member ambassador, Nancy Parker. So I'm going to add her to the stage here. Hey, Nancy.
Hi, happy to be here.
Thanks for joining us. So Nancy helps us out with the member social events, more so for Middle Tennessee. Sometimes she'll help out over in East Tennessee as well, but also our Boat Sisters group. So that's mainly Middle Tennessee, though I do think we will probably be starting an East Tennessee Boat Sisters group at some point. We've been getting a lot of interest in that. People wanting to do some fun things over there. So I think that will be coming soon. But Nancy, thanks for everything you do for us. And we're going to go over our social calendar. So Nancy will help us out with that coming up here real soon. So you can kind of put some dates on your calendar for things coming up in 2026. And then we're going to dive into our Center Hill Lake feature. So we have 2 locations on Center Hill. We'll talk about both of those. I was fortunate enough to have a chat the other day with one of our members who uses Center Hill Lake quite a bit. His name's James Dade, and I'll share that video with you guys so you can kind of see what it looks like from a member's perspective. And then we'll get into the fleet for 2026. We're really excited. We got some new additions. I think our members are going to be super happy about. And we'll talk about some places to stay around the lake if you're coming in for the weekend, or maybe you're a reciprocal member and you want to check it out. And so you want to get some good ideas of places to stay. And then we'll do our Google Earth tour of the lake. I've got some points of interest that people might want to check out, either by land or by water. I kind of mixed in both because there's a lot of stuff to see around Center Hill. And then we'll pull up Navionics. There's not a lot of danger areas on Center Hill Lake, which is one of the really nice parts about Center Hill. But there are some good reasons why you may still want to use your Navionics app while you're out there. And so I'll pull that up and show you that, and then we'll wrap it up. So let's get into it. First, I want to talk about the Nashville Boat Show. We haven't really had a legit Nashville Boat Show in several years, so we're really excited. This is happening. A bunch of the dealers got together and they said, hey, we need to have a Nashville Boat Show. And shout out to the Nashville Boating Center and Mark Sheriff for kind of leading the way on this. But it's happening March 5th through the 8th at the Tennessee Fairgrounds. If you want to Google it, you can look up Greater Nashville Boat Show and get all the details. But in conjunction with that, of course, Freedom Boat Club will be there. We do have a big boat show promotion going on right now. Early access, if people want to join, you can save $1,500 off your entry fee, pay no dues until May. So you get a few months of no dues. And then if you join during the early access portion of this, which runs through February 28th, you get an extra 500 off your entry fee, and you don't have to attend the boat show to take advantage of that. So just reach out to me. My contact info is below. Angie Scott, my number and email address. And then if you're in East Tennessee, there's Jason's number and email. East Tennessee has a boat show coming up a little bit sooner. So if you're over there, check it out. It's February 26th through March 1st, and Jason will be there as well. So we're really excited about that. And then members, never forget about the member referral. If you refer someone to the club, we love that. It's usually the best members that we get are the ones who are referred by their friends, and you get a free month of dues. So the more people you send our way, the less monthly dues you have to pay. So never forget about that. We always appreciate that. And then we'll jump right into the member social calendar. Nancy, we got a lot going on this year.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have on your radar for Freedom Boat Club wide events. Definitely check out the splash party in April. It's always the best time. We have a food truck, we have a beer truck. We're looking into a cornhole tournament. Last year we did Easter eggs because it fell on that weekend, but this year we're going to go back to the cornhole tournament. That's going to be a blast. It's always great to see the boats and get excited for the warmer weather. So that's really a great time. And then don't forget about the Nashville Shores Water Park. So basically, Freedom Boat Club hosts our members, and we get to enjoy the water park for the day. They set up this incredible buffet, and it's always a great time to socialize with other folks, but also just enjoy the water park and being close to Percy Priest, which is really fun too. For the Freedom Boat Club sisters, I just want to look at my. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say,
Did you
if
want to say
anyone
something?
wants to just take a screenshot of this, because there's a lot of events
Perfect.
listed
Yes.
there. But the splash party is April 18th from 11 to 5, and then Nashville Shores is all day when Nashville Shores is open. The water park Saturday the 13th of June. But yeah, I just wanted to just say, screenshot this. Events are subject to change, but we'll always send out communications so you know exactly what's going on. But go ahead, Nancy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Make sure to put those dates on your calendar now, because those are going to be kind of set in stone. We're excited about them. And I was just going to point out my backdrop here. It's a little sunset on the water. This is what the Freedom Boat Sisters, this is our vibe here, this sunset boat cruise situation. So we meet up at various marinas, and we basically take a sunset cruise, eat snacks. Sometimes we'll float in the summer months, and it's just a fantastic time to socialize, get to know other women who love boating, and to chat about the best places to visit and get to know a lake, especially if you end up at a marina that's not your home one. So we'll start kicking that off in May, where we'll be at Four Corners on May the 28th, and then we're gonna basically take a little tour of many of the different marinas. So we'll go to Cedar Creek, we'll go to Gallatin. We always do a sunset, but a leaf viewing in the fall on Center Hill. Yes, thank you. So we're talking about Center Hill tonight, and it's such a beautiful lake in the fall with all of the leaves, and it's magical. So that's always a wonderful time to get together. And then we'll do a bunco night as well. So that's a little competition for us as friends. So
yeah, bunco was really fun because the way you kind of rotate tables and you get to sit with different groups of ladies and really get to know everybody. So that's always a fun time.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this,
go
sorry,
ahead.
I was going to say, if you're listening to this and you're a woman boater and a member, and you're a little bit like, wait a minute, they're all kind of together and know each other. No, we love new folks. We have some regulars that come, but it's always a blast to get to know new people and to get to know new places around Freedom Boat Club, Tennessee. And I just really welcome you and invite you to come join us at any time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to shout out real quick the first Boat Sisters event of this year. It got postponed. It was supposed to be in
Yes.
January, but we rescheduled it for March 5th, which is during the Nashville Boat Show. Bonus, I'll actually be in town, so I'll get to join everybody. So I'm really excited about that. Nancy's planning an awesome taco bar and margarita night. So but it's our second annual Boat Sisters Award night. So even if you're brand new, don't worry, you're still welcome to come. But that's going to be a really good time. I'm looking forward to it.
So each woman gets an award based on the like her boat club usage and like what. So we always have a boat princess for each marina based on when they go out, and they're all really fun and it's a great time. So hopefully you'll join us.
Yep. And like I said, even if you're brand new, it's a really good night to just meet other people and get to learn a little bit more about what you have to look forward to with Freedom Boat Club. So now I'm going to jump into the East Tennessee calendar that Jason put together. So, quite a bit of events going on in East Tennessee this year. So, I welcome you to take a screenshot of that as well. Some of the stuff further out, we don't have like exact details on, but it'll kind of give you an idea of what you have to look forward to. The pre splash party for East Tennessee. That's going to be coming up on April 23rd at Fort Loudon Marina from 5 to 8 p.m. So I know that will be kind of a big kickoff event over there. And then on and on and on. Some surf school nights, which have been really popular. And then, once we get into fall, you've got like the University of Tennessee Vols games. So we've got a UT at Alabama sailgate party at Louisville Landing on Saturday, October 17th. Those are always a super fun time. So again, take a screenshot of this. Things could be subject to change, but Jason will do a really good job of letting you know exactly what's going on. So look forward to that stuff. Of course, Middle Tennessee, East Tennessee members, you're all invited to any of the events. I know, the distance can be a little bit of a challenge, but if you happen to be in one area or the other, you're welcome to, of course, come to any of the stuff. So, all right. So Nancy, I'm going to send you backstage. You can kind of monitor any questions or comments that might come in, and then we'll get to a Q&A session as we get toward the end, but we're going to jump into highlighting our Center Hill Lake locations. So we will see you in a little bit. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Angie.
All right, so tonight we are highlighting Center Hill Lake, and if you look at this map here, you've got all the little red dots where our other locations are, but I put two bright suns over the two Center Hill Lake locations, so you can kind of see where those are, right in Middle Tennessee. And just some quick fun facts about Center Hill Lake. It was created by the Army Corps of Engineers back in 1948 to control some flooding stuff, but also it produces hydropower, which is super important. And it's a huge lake. It's about 18,220 acres of water, stretches 64 miles with 415 miles of shoreline. So it is absolutely massive. You'll see in a second when we get into our Google Earth kind of virtual tour of the lake. There's a lot of points of interest on the lake, and some will take you on a pretty good boat ride. Some members get a little overzealous and they're like, "Yeah, I'm going here," and then they realize just how far of a boat ride that actually is. But nonetheless, I'm gonna point out some of those as well. but also a lot of great features close to the marinas that we operate out of. It's formed by the Caney Fork River, and it spans several counties in Middle Tennessee, so it is a true regional gem. The Hurricane Bridge, which I'll show you, is one of the most iconic Center Hill visuals, and there's a recreation area there we'll talk about. Edgar Evans State Park is right on the shoreline. It's a huge state park, 6,000 acres. There's an observation tower there with some really awesome views. So we'll talk about that. If any of you know me, you know I love fishing, and so I had to always throw in a little fishing fun fact. But black nose crappie, the TWRA started a stocking program in 1990, which was the first of its kind in Tennessee. Center Hill is also really well known for being a great smallmouth bass fishery, largemouth bass, walleye, which me originally being from Minnesota, growing up fishing for walleye, it's really cool to know that there's a good walleye population in Center Hill Lake as well. Super deep lake, as you'll see, especially when we get into the Navionics. Over by the dam, it can be as deep as 190 feet. It is a reservoir, so the water will fluctuate. We'll talk a little bit about that. But it's just an excellent lake for summer boating. And, it's a choose your own adventure lake. Every cove, every finger you go down, you get a different experience, and it's wonderful. So I really hope if you haven't experienced it, you get to soon. So this map is really small. You probably can't read any of it. But just to kind of give you a visual of the whole lake, of what it looks like, I went ahead and threw in this screenshot. If you want the detailed map, you can just Google Center Hill Lake. I think it's just public access. It should come up on, it's on the Center Hill Marina website if you want to go there. But public use guide is what you can search for and bring that up. It's got some really cool points of interest. Most of them we'll go over tonight. All right, so I am going to bring on a conversation I had with one of our members, James Dade. He and his family and his little girls, they boat on Center Hill Lake quite a bit. And so we wanted just to kind of chat with him and share a member's perspective of the lake. So I'm going to bring up that video here. Well, I have one of our members here tonight, James Dade. We're actually pre-recording this because he's not available while we're doing the live stream. But James, I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to kind of share a little bit about your experience as a Freedom Boat Club member, specifically using our Center Hill Lake locations. If you wouldn't mind, just kind of introduce yourself a little bit, how long you've been with the club and boating out on Center Hill.
Sure. Thanks, Angie. Happy to be here, and appreciate you reaching out. So, so I'm James Dade. We've been members of Freedom Boat Club since effectively COVID, which feels so long ago now. I think it was 2020. I don't even remember, but it was that spring that we joined, and like so many others, we were wanting to get out of the house and on the water, and it was a good launching point. I have my wife and two daughters. They're 7 and 9 now. We were talking about it. So they think my youngest was 3. So maybe that was, 4 years ago or so. This is probably our 5th season. And we started primarily boating at Percy Priest. And then we got a house out on Center Hill and have been boating out there for 3 years. This will be our 4th summer. I also grew up in Nashville and boated on Center Hill a lot. Growing up, I was real fortunate. A neighbor of mine had a house out there. So spent a lot of time on Center Hill over the years. And of course, most recently, the past 3 or 4 summers. So we love it, and it's a beautiful lake.
Yeah, absolutely. And were you out there at all during the period where they had the water low So we're working on the dam.
Absolutely. And you know, a great thing about the lake, and one of the things I was thinking about is that it is such a deep water, such a deep lake, and that you can really kind of hug the shoreline, unlike at Percy Priest or certainly Old Hickory. You know, you can use the entire expanse of the lake as potable water, which is really nice. Even when the water's down significantly, you know, it's a pretty steep grade going in. So, you know, as long as there's water, you know, if you're a couple feet off the shore, you're generally pretty good, which is something I really enjoy about the lake.
Yeah, it's nice. You can kind of relax a little bit more than some of the other lakes that have the shallow areas.
Absolutely.
I always tell people when we do our trainings is one thing to just kind of look at your surroundings. And if you see a steep bank, you know, it's probably going to continue doing that
Right.
below the water. And so, you know, you can be fairly confident that it's not going to be shallow there. Whereas if it's a very gradual slope, then it's probably going to be pretty
Yep.
shallow, you know, off that
Right.
point. So
Right.
Center Hill, you look around and you're just surrounded by the steep hills and
That's right.
very, very beautiful. So as someone who's kind of, you know, been to different lakes, what would you say kind of really makes Center Hill stand out?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's arguably one of the most beautiful lakes in Tennessee. And you know, it's right up there with Dale Hollow and a couple others. But you know, the pristine shoreline where the Corps owns the majority of the shore, so you don't have a bunch of docks or stuff in the way to navigate around. And yeah, it's just a lot of tree lines and beautiful rolling hills into the lake. And you know, to me, that's really, you can get tucked back into so many fingers of the lake because it's deep. And you can really kind of get back in a finger and you can be anywhere in the world. I mean, that's what's really special about it, in my opinion. It's deep. It's you know, wide. There are a lot of beautiful nooks and crannies, if you will, and you can get away. You won't see another boat out there, even on, you know, the busiest of weekends, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is a huge benefit. You know, it is such a big body of water as well, and so you can kind of get away from the crowds, which is nice. Um,
Absolutely.
One thing I did want to share too, we do have some members who, you know, pretty much only boat Center Hill Lake. And
Right.
then when they do, they're kind of spoiled because when they do go to Percy Priest or Old Hickory or something, you know, they sometimes forget that it's not the same.
Right.
You know, you have
Abs-
to pay attention to
Absolutely.
your navigation a little bit more.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And one thing that we take advantage of is during the summer, we spend a lot more like, you know, I'm saying summer, but June and July when the girls are out of school, we spend a lot more time up on Center Hill. And then once they've gone, started school back in August and September, when we're not able to get out to Center Hill as much regularly, we take advantage of and use the locations here in Nashville on Percy Priest or Old Hickory. So it's a really good setup as a member, to be able to have those multiple locations, different, you know, proximities to our home base here in Nashville, but and then also out there.
Yeah, and it's a, you know, for me where I'm at, Percy Priest Lake, it's probably an hour and 10-minute drive to get to the Center Hill Marina location,
Sure.
which isn't that bad when you really think about it, you know.
Absolutely. We drive. I live in West Nashville, but it's about an hour, I believe, maybe even a few minutes less if we don't have any traffic or anything. And you know, you can get up, you can have a leisurely morning, get lunch along the way, grab lunch at Fat Boys, which is the restaurant at Hidden Harbor or El Lago on Center Hill Marina, and get on for an afternoon, and it, you know, makes for a beautiful, easy day. I mean, it's the drive is not it's not a hard drive, and it's really quick actually.
Yeah.
And really, you know, if you're coming from West Nashville like we are, it's not that much longer than say going to Percy Priest, or, you know, maybe 30 minutes, but in the grand scheme, it's not much.
Yeah. So you kind of started talking about it, but describe what your like ideal day out at Center Hill would look like.
Sure. So, we talked about how such a big body of water it is. We kind of take advantage of that to do a lot of the water sports, tubing, or we'll get back. My girls have started wakeboarding and skiing, and so we will get back in one of the fingers off of one of the creeks and do some of the water sports, and then from there we like to go post up and float. And there's a beautiful rock wall that's fun. It's very deep. It's like 110 feet off that wall where the old river channel is, and you can float along there and just kind of enjoy the scenery. Or like I said earlier, you can tuck back into another finger and disappear from everyone else, or any of the other boat traffic. And that's cool. We typically stay on the Nashville side of the Hurricane Creek Bridge, so kind of near that Hurricane Marina, or this side of that most of the time. But there are beautiful waterfalls. We're talking about a little bit as well that are boatable too, or you can get very close up to. So that is a really fun day trip as well. So it really opens up a lot of I could say opportunity, but a lot of different boating you can do. But our typical day is good amount of water sports, followed by either tucking in to one of those coves, or along that rock wall, and getting a good float in and swim. And there's a lot of marinas with restaurants to if you want snacks or drop in for a cocktail. Hidden Harbor's Fat Boys or El Lago, and there's a nice restaurant at Hurricane Marina as well that's has good food and drinks. And so a lot of good spots to be able to stay provisioned and enjoy a meal on the water as well. And I think more offerings, or I would say a lot of offerings, compared to some of the other lakes around.
Yeah.
Good and good, like pretty good food. Service is like, late service, but in terms of it takes a little bit of time, but like you plan for that, and it's all good.
Yeah, I love the addition of El Lago at Center Hill Marina. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just such a brilliant idea. I wish somebody would open a Mexican restaurant out on Percy Priest too,
Yeah.
because
And the food and drinks are fantastic too. They really are really good. So it's a nice spot.
great margaritas
Absolutely.
and Mexican food is generally pretty fast,
Yep.
So it's
That's
like
right.
if you want a quick stop, that's a great place to go. Uh, so we've got people watching this that maybe have never experienced Center Hill Lake before. Some are members. Some people are probably watching just curious about the boat club and curious about the different lakes in the area. Some might be reciprocal members watching. Are there any kind of tips you would give somebody for their first time out on Center Hill?
I would say definitely have your charts on your phone, or otherwise, or maps, because it is really big. And if you don't know where you're going, you can get turned around and not necessarily know how to get back. So I would say have your charts available, and be ready to use them, particularly if you're going exploring, because it all kind of looks the same. It's just big, beautiful rolling hills into the lake. And so unless you really know the terrain to use certain landmarks, it kind of all looks the same, and it's big and beautiful. So yeah, I would say make sure you have some charts or your maps available. And cell phone service can get a little spotty in a couple of spots, so having that preloaded and open up is always wise anyway.
Yeah, and we'll pull up Navionics just so people can see that, and show you how to download your map ahead of time, so that way if you are somewhere where the service might be a little spotty, you should still have that GPS following you out on the lake, so you know where you're at, you know how to get back. That was one of my first experiences after I started working for Freedom Boat Club and went out of one of our marinas. I was just thought I was going right back to the marina, and next thing you know, I was at a different marina. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. It
I
can happen. It
yeah.
can definitely happen.
So I just pulled my Navionics out, put in the marina, and it routed me there. And I'm like, oh yeah, I turned too soon, because it's like you said, you're right. Everything looks the same
Yeah.
unless you're out there a lot, and really know all the different little, there are some like houses on the hills and things like that you can
Right.
kind of reference. But uh, as a first time person being out there, you're not gonna, know that. So
Right. Right.
definitely a great tip for people going out for the first time. Um, yeah. So anything else you want to share?
I mean, the vibe at Center Hill, it's low key. It's more low key, I'd say. It's not as hustling, bustly, as a lake, as maybe some of the ones closer to Nashville. And I think, by the nature of just being a little bit further away. But it's great. The dock staff's always awesome. A lot of times we'll end up using in one weekend. We might use both of the different marinas where the club has locations. So that's super beneficial for us. Or while driving out, we might stop at the Center Hill Marina one and use that, and then the rest of the weekend use Hidden Harbor. So it's really nice that we have multiple locations. That's a big benefit for the members on Center Hill. And then I mean I'm always super appreciative of the dock staff. They're always willing to lend an extra hand, or it's a little bit of a further walk at some of the marinas. So, but they're always happy to help come grab some of the gear or help carry it back to the truck or whatever they can. And so I always like to share my appreciation for them and the great job you all do with training the staff and having everyone so willing to help out and eager to, I should say. So it's a great spot for us.
Yeah, we love to hear that. And that is one of the challenges with the terrain around Center Hill is that, sometimes you do have to walk up a steep hill or down. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's nice to have some helping hands
Yeah,
around.
absolutely.
You guys use the club water sports equipment or do you bring your own?
A little bit of both. So when we use the club's surfboards primarily. Occasionally I'll bring one. But for the skis, the club actually has a pair of kid skis up there that we've used. And then on the wakeboarding side, we provide our own wakeboard for the girls. And then, of course, all our own life jackets and water sports jackets and that kind of stuff, like all the other locations. But there's a good mix of skis and wakeboards and particularly a good amount of surfboards for those that do the surf boat. So a little bit of both, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I guess makes sense.
Yeah, and the equipment's in good repair. I think tubes have been a little bit of a thing everywhere. It's like they just get beat up, right? Because everyone's going hard on that. But there was a good rotation of the tubes and as well, and the kids, they eat that up. And Center Hill again being so big in so many areas, you can really turn loose on the tube and the kids go wild.
Yeah, and lots of room out there for tubing. So, all right. Well, I appreciate your time. If you just have like one final word of encouragement to somebody watching who maybe hasn't ventured out to Center Hill yet, what would you tell them?
I would just say go do it because it is one of the most beautiful lakes in Tennessee, I think, and it's really not that far of a stretch to drive out from Nashville for a day trip. Or there's tons of rentals and Airbnbs all along the lake, so make a weekend out of it. Go try it out. It's really a beautiful spot, and we're really fortunate to have two locations and a lot of nice boats and friendly staff to help out on the lake. So I would say, take advantage of it.
Awesome. All right. Well, with that, I'll let you get back to your day. Thanks again for popping on with us. We really appreciate it.
Of course, Angie, thanks for inviting us, and I appreciate y'all taking the time to highlight Center Hill for all of us members, and we'll see you around the dock soon.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks again to James Dade for chatting with me. Hope you guys learned a little bit, but we'll get more into detail. Some of the stuff that he was mentioning, I can show you. But before we get into that, we're just going to talk real quick about our two locations on Center Hill Lake. So, Center Hill Marina, that's going to be the one that's closest to the dam. So, if you are coming in from Nashville, that's probably going to be your closest location. So, the restaurant we mentioned, El Lago, we're really excited about that. Have had great experiences there thus far. They're open year round, authentic Mexican food, but they do have some other options for people that might not want Mexican food. I think they have burgers and pizza and things like that as well. Beautiful seating right on the water. So if you want to sit outside, they have indoor options as well. Margaritas, cocktails, and more. So pretty much everything you want right there at the restaurant at El Lago. Center Hill Marina also has a fully stocked ship store. I love their merchandise. If you ever go in there, pick up a Center Hill Marina hoodie or shirt. Cabins for rent there. So that's one great place if you want to spend a weekend, check into their cabin rental options. We'll talk a little bit more as we get into the places to stay section. They have some other options there as well. And of course, Freedom Boat Club. We love being there. Free parking at Center Hill Marina. A whole selection of water sports equipment, like James was talking about, tube skis, wakeboards, surfboards, all that stuff. And then our other location is at Hidden Harbor. That's in Smithville, Tennessee. There is a short order grill there and a bar called Fat Boys. I think they're only open on weekends, but it's a great little place to grab a burger and a drink. John, our location manager, mentioned that there are DoorDash options that will deliver from Smithville, close proximity to a fine dining restaurant called Twisted Oaks, and also close proximity to Hurricane Marina, which has a kind of a revamped restaurant menu there now. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into our virtual tour. Hidden Harbor also has cabins, camping, a ship store, and John also mentioned a really nice open area for practicing your boat parking. So if you want, you can always talk to the staff there, and if you want a little extra practice docking, they can point out that area. And my screen is actually blocking what the last point here. Oh, there we go. Of course, Freedom Boat Club. So, yeah, we're really happy to be there. Again, free parking and water sports equipment at Hidden Harbor. So it's a great place to go check out. All right, so what everyone's really excited about is our 2026 fleet. Every year we're bringing in new boats. This year we have some new brands that we're introducing to the fleet. So at Center Hill Marina, between the two locations, we're up to 15 boats. You'll find 3 double-decker slide tunes, 4 different tri-tunes, 4 bow riders, and then if you're on the elite plan, you've got 3 surf boats and a 250 horsepower Harris Cruiser tri-tune. The new brands that you'll notice are Barletta. So we're excited to introduce some Barletta tri-tunes, not just to Center Hill, but some of our other locations as well. We'll have a Cobalt bow rider in addition to our Sea Rays, and then the Taiga surf boats. Some Middle Tennessee locations are also starting to see some Nautique surf boats. So we're excited about that. But that's kind of your mix of boats between the two Center Hill Lake locations. And just some suggestions for good places to stay if you are wanting to make a weekend out of it, or you're coming in, maybe you're a reciprocal member. Center Hill Marina is a great place to check out because they have the Lakeview cabins. They also have houseboat rentals. I think that would be kind of a cool weekend getaway, rent a houseboat and take Freedom Boat Club boat out to explore the lake. There are some nearby chalets you can rent close to the marina. At Hidden Harbor, you've got the cabins, you've got campgrounds and houseboats as options. There close to there is the retreat at Center Hill Lake, which is a hotel style suite kind of place you can check out. The huge Edgar Evans State Park. I've been there many, many times camping, and I've stayed in the cabins. So, two great options there, very affordable. And then you've got several campgrounds around the lake. Just to point out, you might be familiar with or have heard of is Raglan Bottom and Floating Mill. And then there's a bunch of hotels in Cookeville. Cookeville's kind of a college town, so there's lots of options there. And of course, you've always got your rentals, so like your VRBOs and Airbnbs to check out around the lake. Tons of great options. All right, well, we're going to get into our virtual tour via Google Earth. So I'm going to share my screen to Google Earth. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and make it full screen so you guys can see the best. But we're going to start out right at Center Hill Marina, where that El Lago restaurant is. So that's kind of an example of their patio there. We got those nice lake views. So Freedom Boat Club, I don't think you can, maybe you can see my cursor over here. But we are on the dock with all these houseboats here. So it's Sea Dock. So that's where you'll find our fleet, but it's a really great location there. And as we mentioned, free parking. Really close to the Center Hill Marina is the dam. So you can just take a quick boat ride over there if you want to kind of check that out in that area. And then also close to there is going to be your Edgar Evans State Park. There is a ton of stuff to do. They've got this observation viewing tower, camping, hiking, events, just all of the things. I recommend checking out their website. They've got a marina there, and then the campground, which is, I've stayed there, and then the cabins. So tons of stuff to do at Edgar Evans, really close to Cedar Creek. I did want to point out, and Nancy's going to enjoy this. I know she's backstage right now, but when we have done our Freedom Boat Sisters fall boat cruises, we've gone out of Center Hill Marina, and then we go into I guess you call it a finger, really close by, but it's called Indian Creek. And that's where we've had our Boat Sisters fall cruises. It's just a beautiful, calm creek to cruise through. This is actually a picture from one of our past cruises. And then we'll do some lunch at El Lago. It just makes for a really, really nice day out with the ladies. Of course, sometimes the timing, the fall colors, we don't hit it just right, but you can see the leaves are turning a little bit there. So that's really fun. And then next up, I had James send me that coordinates for the rock wall. He was mentioning that he and his family like to kind of float around after they've done some water sports. So this is like a rock wall area. So not far from Center Hill Marina. I'll zoom back out just so you can kind of see how to get there. So you got Center Hill up here, and then you're just kind of cruising by past Indian Creek, and then you come around this corner here and you've got that rock wall. Or if you're coming out of Hidden Harbor, it's even closer. So that's Hidden Harbor Marina. I'll zoom in a little bit here. So it's our second location on Center Hill Lake. And it's been a while since I've been there, but I'm pretty sure we were on this first dock. So as you're coming in, You'll see the Freedom Boat Club signage. That's Hidden Harbor Marina, and you've got that little short order bar and grill there. Grab some food. Really nice little spot. And then just some other points of interest that I wanted to highlight when you come out. Over here, you've got Floating Mill Park, and that's a campground. It's just a really good place for a weekend getaway if you want to camp. There's a swimming beach there and beautiful views of the lake. So that is always an option. Then coming out of there, you've got Hurricane Marina. And I mentioned there's the new restaurant there, the Twisted Oar, with some really great food. I'm actually excited to check that out this season. I didn't get to experience that just yet, but I've loved my time at Hurricane Marina, so look forward to going back there and seeing all the new additions. And where they're situated is kind of on this peninsula here. Lots of beautiful lake views, and you've got the Hurricane Bridge recreation area, so that's kind of a highlight of the lake. Go under the Hurricane Bridge. That's a beautiful picture right there, just to kind of give you an idea of what that looks like. And I'm going to zoom back out a little bit. So while we're still up here, I'll point out this isn't really somewhere you would go by boat, but if you're driving around the lake, there's the Appalachian Center for Craft, and there's like 2 scenic overlooks there that you can hike to and get a really, really good view of the lake. So I just wanted to point that out while we're in the area. Then you've got Raglan Bottom Recreation Area, which I mentioned earlier, another camping area. They have a swimming beach, so that's a good place to stay. But you can boat to there as well. So that's just kind of zooming in on that. And then beyond that, you've got Sligo Marina. That's a popular spot. They've got a restaurant there as well. So it is, getting to be Center Hill's such a huge lake. This is getting to be a bit of a boat ride, but you know what? If you're making a day of it, that's a great destination to head to. And then zooming back out, you can just see how massive this lake is. A couple other things to point out. You've got the Cookville Boat Dock and Lighthouse Restaurant up here. Looks like mouth-watering food and beautiful views. And then if you're even more adventurous, I know I've had some people talk to me about boating toward Burgess Falls. Pretty much, I think most of the time that's more of a kayak trip if you actually want to get there. But Cane Hollow, Falling Water River arm is a good place you can head to. Let's see if I don't think I might have done a picture there. There you go. Well, that's Burgess Falls, so that's the beautiful falls that everyone likes to visit. Like I said, water gets pretty skinny as you're heading back in there, but I think you can rent kayaks and things like that from Cane Hollow. And then a couple other spots just to point out. Really far boat ride, but you got fish lips at Patesford Marina, which is a cool place to check out sometime. And a lot of people, I shouldn't say everyone, have heard of Rock Island State Park. That's a huge state park. Tons of activities there. Swimming, hiking, picnicking, birding, all kinds of things you can do there. So that's also another great spot on Center Hill. So many places around this beautiful lake. I didn't highlight every single one of them, but it kind of gives you an idea. I mean, honestly, to me, everywhere you go out there is just gorgeous. So I highly recommend people check out Center Hill if you haven't already. All right, so I'm going to remove that. Add my slideshow back on here. Where did my slideshow go? Hold on. Bear with me 1 second. I think we might have met our capacity for different things that we're showing here. So let's see, remove that. There we go. There we go. Oop. All right, back to the slideshow. All right, so I'm gonna see if I can pull up Navionics. I've got a different iPhone thing I haven't really used before, but just to kind of show you guys how to download your map before you head out there. So you have that, and share screen. All right, let's see if I can get my iPhone back up here. Actually, I'm gonna bring Nancy back on just for a second while I look for the iPhone thing that I had up here earlier. Nancy, what do you think about that? I know you've been out there a couple times.
Center Hill Lake is gorgeous. I love it so much. And it really is not far from Nashville. We're also on the west side of town, and you just kind of pop over and down, and um, it's so worth it. And the Mexican restaurant is delightful, and especially at Center Hill is where we usually, the Center Hill Marina is usually where we go out of. But also Smithville is such a quaint and beautiful town. And the last couple of years, we've done an event for all of the members at the Jamboree. They have this amazing Jamboree that happens on the 4th of July weekend. And you get to see clogging and folk music and banjos. And there's all of these little vendors and foods. It's so delightful. And then the fire station always is out, and my son is very into that. So anyway, we love Smithville and Center Hill Lake, and it's just an amazing weekend, and so close to Nashville.
Yeah, we love it, and I think honestly people don't take advantage of it enough because
Yeah,
it is a little bit further of a drive, but in my opinion, it's worth it. So, um,
and the
thanks for
cabins at Center Hill Marina, where they have these balconies that kind of look over the lake that are quite lovely. But there's lots of rentals and different spots that you can find if you want to camp, or if you want to have a little bit more of a cabin experience, or a really nice chalet.
absolutely. All right, well, I figured out this new iPhone sharing thing on here, so I brought my
Amazing.
Navionics. Yeah, I brought my Navionics up, so I did want to just show you guys how to download your maps beforehand, just because some areas the cell phone service can be a little spotty. So to download it, all you got to do is go to your menu on Navionics, go down to download maps, and then you just select your area that you want to pre-download, so you can make it smaller if you just want to really center in on that. And then you hit download. I'm not going to do it because I actually did it earlier, so it might mess up a little bit, but hopefully you can see that. So that's how you do that. And then, just real quick, just to show you, most of our lakes are like this red and orange and the teal blue color. Purple is what we use for the deep color, and you can see Center Hill Lake is pretty much just all purple. So it is just such a deep, wide open lake. I did adjust it to the current conditions. We're in February right now, so it is drawn down just a little bit. I think I looked it up and it was like 14 feet below what summer pool is. So you do see a little bit more shoreline than you probably would in the summer. But like James was talking about, if you don't want to get lost out there, use this little search button up here. If you're, heading to a destination, or maybe you're going back to the marina, like let's say you were going to Hurricane Marina for some lunch, you just type in Hurricane Marina. There you go. Click on that. And then you can boat to it. I can't do it from here because I'm actually doing this from Florida right now, and that would be a pretty crazy boat ride. But it would know your location, and then it would route you to Hurricane Marina, and all you got to do is follow the line. So, highly recommend everybody have the Navionics app. Of course, we do have the mapping and such on the boats, but it's really nice to have it on your phone where you can do things like that, and also save your own waypoints, like James and his family has that rock wall they like to hang out with. You can just put a pin there, and you know how to get there every time. So anything else about Navionics, Nancy? I mean,
No, I've got mine pulled up, and it would be a funny boat ride from Nashville too. But it's
yeah,
amazing that just the different features on it, and then the colors that you can. Anyway,
yeah.
I love it. I
And
use it all the time.
even though Center Hill is such a deep lake, there are certain areas that you do want to be cautious of.
Right.
Like here, you can see this more shallow area. So always good to use it, not just to not get lost, but to also just be aware, and it helps you learn the lake a lot faster. Um, I think this is, yeah, back into Burgess Falls, back in here, so you can see it's pretty shallow. Right now, you can't get there, but
Yeah,
in summer, I think you can take like kayaks back in there and things like that. So,
you can, but not a boat.
yeah, exactly. All right, we'll get back to the slide. So we're pretty much wrapping up now. I always like to mention we do offer that peace of mind, which is just kind of in addition to your, the insurance coverage that's built in with membership. If you have peace of mind, it basically, it's exactly what it says. It's peace of mind. Covers your deductible up to 2 occurrences throughout the year. Plus, you get $500 miscellaneous damage credit and $1,000 in towing. It's well worth it. So we've got open enrollment coming up soon. So if you don't have it, reach out to me or Jason, and we'll be happy to help you get that set up. Some quick resources for Center Hill Lake. I always mention the TVA Lake Info app is where you can go and check out what the current lake level is. Summer pool on Center Hill is 648. So if you go onto the TVA Lake Info app and it says like 634, it's down, and you adjust your Navionics accordingly. Of course, we talked about the Navionics app. Always good to have that on hand. TWRA on the Go app is where you can go purchase your fishing licenses, read about all the different regulations, and then just some Facebook groups you might want to check out. You can search for Center Hill Lake Tie Up. That's a popular group. It's kind of, the purpose of it is just for people that are always passing each other out on the lake. They can actually kind of get to know each other and meet up and go tie up somewhere. There's a What's Happening Center Hill Lake Facebook group, and also a Center Hill Fishing group, which they're always sharing tips, what's kind of going on out there as far as fishing goes. Always want to mention, of course, we're hiring. We're getting ready to head into spring. It's honestly, working for Freedom Boat Club is one of the best jobs, especially, if you've got teenagers or college age kids even. It's just a really great experience to work and be out on the water. So if you're interested or know somebody who might be a good fit to work the docks, or maybe even some other positions, you can always reach out to operationstn@freedomboatclub.com. And then Nancy, did we have any Q&A, any
Nope.
comments or anything? I know we didn't
Jeremy says hi. Jeremy Taylor says hi.
awesome. Well, Jeremy,
Yep.
hope we get to see you. Hope we get do a social event down there in Tim's Ford.
Yep.
It's kind of TBA, but we'll figure it out. But yeah, I know most people watch the replays, so just remember this will be on our Facebook page. It might be a little bit harder to find, so I recommend going to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Freedom Boat Club TN. Click on the live tab. You can watch this. You can watch any of the other past location highlight videos that we've done. So YouTube is a great place to go. I've gotten a lot of great comments in the past from these of people that learned a lot about their outing before they went to a new lake. So appreciate that.
Yeah, we've
And
done a
yeah,
lot of the locations, and you
we
can see
have.
on your app to reserve, and then you can look up a new location, and it's really amazing to explore the different locations. I've been to
Yeah.
a lot of them, and it's amazing.
And then you really have a better idea of what to do and maximize the time that you're going to be out there. So highly recommend checking that out. And I think as we stand now, we've just got one more location to highlight until we add more, which we're constantly adding more locations, so there will be more of these to come. But Watts Bar, we're planning to do a location highlight out there next month, so stay tuned for that. And just
Another
thank
gorgeous
everybody.
lake.
Absolutely, Nancy's been out there as well,
Yeah, I love
so
it.
look forward to featuring that one and then any other new locations that pop up to come. And appreciate everyone watching and or watching the recording, and hope to see you on the dock soon.
See you later.